What if parking your truck got you a $700 fine? What if it led to police towing your vehicle? In Montana, Zoe Hart faced an HOA nightmare. But then, they discovered she's the new sheriff. Stay tuned for a story of personal freedom, injustice, and a surprising twist of justice. In the rugged suburb of Pineview Ridge, Montana, the mountains loomed in the distance. The air carried the scent of pine. Here, 39-year-old Zoe Hart had just settled in. She was the newly appointed sheriff of the county. Zoe had bought her $290,000 cabin-style home in 2025. It was a cozy haven after long days on duty. On the chilly evening of October 20th, 2026, Zoe parked her pickup truck in her driveway. The engine shut off with a soft hum. The truck was essential for her work. It carried her gear for emergencies in the rural county. Pineview Ridge was governed by a strict homeowners association. It was led by 61-year-old President Vernon Tate, a retired engineer. Vernon enforced rules with a rigid hand. He saw the neighborhood as a neat, upscale retreat. No large vehicles, no clutter, and certainly no pickup trucks that could lower property values. The HOA bylaws were clear. No commercial or oversized vehicles allowed in driveways, they stated. A $700 fine per violation. Vernon applied this rule strictly. He believed trucks belonged in garages or out of sight. That evening, he drove through the neighborhood in his sedan. The headlights cut through the dusk. He spotted Zoe's truck in her driveway. It was a clear violation in his eyes. Vernon's jaw tightened. He gripped the steering wheel. "A truck parked like that?" he muttered. "That's a fine, and it's getting towed tonight." He reached for his phone. His fingers dialed the local police. The call connected with a faint click. At 7:30 p.m., Zoe stepped out of her house. She adjusted her jacket against the chilly air. Suddenly, the sharp wail of police sirens pierced the evening quiet. Zoe turned. Her boots crunched on the gravel driveway. A police cruiser rolled up to her house. Its tires ground against the dirt. Red and blue lights flashed across the pine trees. A tow truck followed close behind. Its engine rumbled loudly. Two officers stepped out of the cruiser. Their boots hit the ground with a thud. The lead officer, 42-year-old Travis Burke, approached Zoe. "Ma'am, we've had a complaint about an unapproved vehicle," Officer Burke said. His voice was stern. It cut through the rumble of the tow truck. Zoe's brow furrowed. She crossed her arms. "A complaint? This is my truck. It's parked on my property," she said. Her voice was calm but firm. Her words carried through the crisp air. Vernon had followed in his sedan. He stepped out with a stern expression. He held a fine notice in his hand. His coat flapped in the evening breeze. "Your truck violates HOA rules. It's an eyesore," he declared. His tone was sharp. "That's a $700 fine, and we're towing it." Zoe's eyes narrowed. She stood her ground. "This is my driveway. I need this truck for my job," she countered. Her words overlapped with the sound of Vernon tearing the fine notice from his pad. The paper ripped with a harsh sound. Officer Burke wasn't swayed. He was known in Pineview Ridge for enforcing HOA complaints. "If you don't comply, we'll have to take further action," he snapped. His tone was cold. He signaled the tow truck driver. The truck's winch began to move. The chains clanked loudly. They hooked onto Zoe's pickup. The vehicle lifted with a groan. The sound echoed through the neighborhood. Zoe watched in disbelief. Her heart raced. The tow truck's engine roared. Her truck was being dragged away. "You can't do this!" she shouted. Her voice rose over the noise. Officer Burke turned to her. He unhooked his handcuffs from his belt. The metal clinked ominously. "Step back, ma'am," or you'll be arrested," he warned. His voice was low. Zoe took a deep breath. She reached into her pocket. The rustle of fabric broke the tense silence. She pulled out her sheriff's badge. The metal glinted under the street lamp. "I think you'll want to reconsider," she said. Her tone was steady. She held up the badge. "I'm Sheriff Zoe Hart. I just transferred to this county." Her voice carried the weight of her authority. The badge shone in the dim light. Officer Burke froze. His handcuffs dropped to his side. The clink of metal was faint in the air. Vernon's eyes widened. His fine notice crumpled in his hand. The paper crinkled as his confidence crumbled. "Sheriff?" he stammered. His voice trembled. He realized his mistake. Burke spoke into his radio. The static crackled with his urgent message. "Dispatch, we've got a situation. Stand down," he said. His voice was shaky. The tow truck driver paused. He lowered Zoe's truck back to the ground. The chains rattled as they released. Neighbors began to gather. They stood at the edge of their yards. Their murmurs grew louder. They watched the scene unfold. The pine trees cast long shadows in the dusk. Zoe's expression remained calm. Her sheriff's authority was undeniable. She addressed Burke and Vernon. "You've overstepped your bounds," she said. Her tone was measured. "The HOA has no right to ban my truck on my own property, and you, officer, have no grounds to tow it." Burke nodded. His face was flushed with embarrassment. "I'm sorry, Sheriff. We didn't know," he said. His voice was low. He signaled the tow truck driver. The truck drove off. Its engine faded into the distance. Vernon tried to save face. His voice trembled. He clutched the crumpled fine notice. "The bylaws still apply," he said. His tone was desperate. The paper crinkled louder as he turned to leave. But Zoe shook her head. "You'll be hearing from my lawyer," she said. Her voice was a quiet promise. She returned to her truck. She checked it for damage. The evening air grew colder around her. The next day, Zoe filed a lawsuit against the HOA. Her experience as a sheriff gave her a strong sense of justice. She worked with a lawyer to build her case. The rustle of legal documents filled her home office. The lawsuit moved quickly. It gained attention in Pineview Ridge. The trial took place in the county courthouse. Residents packed the gallery. Their footsteps echoed on the wooden floor. Their murmurs were a quiet buzz of anticipation. Zoe's lawyer presented the case. "The HOA's rule is an overreach," he argued. His voice was steady. "It violates property rights." The rustle of exhibits was loud as he handed them to the judge. Vernon and the HOA board struggled to defend their actions. Their lawyer's voice was shaky. He tried to justify the fine. The tension in the courtroom was thick. The judge delivered a swift verdict. His gavel slammed down with a resounding thud. The sound echoed through the room. "The HOA's actions were unjust," he declared. His voice boomed. The HOA was ordered to pay Zoe $8,000 in damages. The verdict was a clear win. It left Vernon visibly shaken. His fine notice was now a worthless piece of paper. The residents of Pineview Ridge cheered. Their applause filled the courthouse. It was a celebration of Zoe's victory. They welcomed their new sheriff with open arms. In the aftermath, the HOA rescinded its vehicle ban. Vernon stepped down in disgrace. His resignation was announced at the next meeting. A new president took over. The community's freedom was restored. They could now park their vehicles without fear. Zoe settled into her role as sheriff. Her truck remained in her driveway. The engine hummed softly when she started it for work. The scent of pine still filled the air. Pineview Ridge became a symbol of personal rights. Zoe stood in her driveway. She looked at the mountains in the distance. A sense of justice warmed her in the chilly Montana air. And so, a parked truck became a battle for justice in Pineview Ridge, Montana. Sheriff Zoe Hart turned the tables on an overzealous HOA. How would you fight for your personal freedoms? What do you think? Should HOAs control your driveway? Share your thoughts. Join us next time for another tale of justice. Until then, stand up for what's right. Thank you for listening.